come and Trump is talking about it, and now Jake Tapper and CNN is talking about it as they're confronting Nancy Pelosi to her face, and she is having a meltdown over insider trading. She's trying to avoid the entire conversation, bro. Y'all got to check this out.
Yeah, it was. Let me just read what he said. I'm sorry that we had some sort of technical issue. Nancy Pelosi became rich.
Why do you have to read that? We're here to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid. That's what I agreed to come to talk about.
Yeah, but I wanted
what that means in the election.
I wanted to give you a chance just to respond. He accused you of insider trading. What's your response to that?
That's ridiculous. In fact, I very much support the stop the trading of members of Congress. Not that I think anybody's doing anything wrong. If they are prosecuted and they go to jail. But because of the confidence it instills in the American people, don't worry about this. But I have no concern about the obvious investments that had been made over time. I'm not into it. My husband is, but it isn't anything to do with anything insider.
What is she saying, bro? and by the way, let me ask you guys this. Why is CNN all of a sudden even bringing this up to her? They would usually protect Democrats in this type of field, right? They would 100% protect the Democrats, but they know the time is coming, right? For term limits and an insider trading in Congress. That is something that Trump spoke about and then now is speaking about and is accusing Nancy Pelosi. That is the number one person that he's pointing the finger at. We've known this for years, and she's up there lying. And look at Jake Tapper's face. He knows that she is lying about, oh, I'm not doing it, but my husband is. And she's just stuttering word for word. She's made millions of dollars. She's worth, what is she worth? Like over $100 million? What?
But the president has his own exposure, so he's always projecting. And let's not give him any more time on that, please. We're going forward here, and I'm very proud of my family. And while he might make fun of us, while somebody inspired by him breaks into our home and hits my husband in a deadly fashion, hits my husband over the head, and he thinks that's a riot, I'd rather not go into some of my other complaints about him right now, rather to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid.
Yeah, so this is what happens when she's basically telling CNN straight up, please, let's get back to the propaganda and lies about Medicaid. Let's not talk about the insider trading, but that's the biggest story here today that everybody is talking about. Well, let's get right into it, because we know that this is exactly what's happening. A total fallout. Senator Josh Hawley just introduced the Pelosi Act bill to ban congressional stock trading. It is called the Pelosi Act, because we've all known that she's been doing this for decades, which is how she made all her money in Congress while she was Trump's biggest criticizer, right? We know about the J6 stuff. We know about the J6 committee. We know about how she basically has controlled Democrats for a long time, her being a former speaker herself. Listen to this. But he cited against the Republicans to get it through. Trump backed it up, then turned on him. Now he's demanding Pelosi be investigated for insider trading and accusing Hawley of playing right into Democrats' hands. So Josh Hawley and Trump are going back and forth. Trump is trying to get Josh Hawley, to understand that Nancy Pelosi must be prosecuted for this. Trump is trying to prosecute Nancy Pelosi. And this, again, has been something that they've been talking about for some time now. Again, a political minefield cracked wide open in the Senate today. Senator Josh Hawley introduced the Pelosi Act, a bill designed to bar members of Congress from owning or trading individual stocks. It just made it out of the committee, but just barely, passing in an 8-7 after Hawley joined Democrats to break the tie. This part is important to remember for great context. The message he delivered wasn't subtle. So now we're going to get into more of Josh Hawley. But here we go. Just hours later, a reporter brought the issue to the White House, asking the president directly. And here we go. Here is some of what Trump is saying about this bill, because this is a very important bill, because not only is Pelosi doing it, Republicans and Democrats have been doing this. Take a listen.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Hawley introduced legislation that would ban members of Congress from owning or trading individual stocks. It extends to the president and the vice president. Are you in favor of that legislation?
Well, I like it conceptually. I don't know about it, but I like it conceptually. And, you know, Nancy Pelosi became rich by having inside information. She made a fortune with her husband, and I think that's disgraceful. So in that sense, I'd like it, but I'd have to really see I study these things very carefully, and this just happened. So I'll take a look at it. But conceptually, I like it.
So now we know Josh Hawley. Let's listen to what he also has to say, because he was the one that brought all of this. But something is telling other people that, hey, this guy is backing down from this. Trump is saying, don't back down from this. Let's take a bigger look at this so we can sign this into law. Trump also knows and is saying that Nancy Pelosi and her husband got rich off insider trading. Take a listen.
We have an opportunity here today to do something that the public has wanted us to do for decades, and that is to ban members of Congress from profiting on information that, frankly, only members of Congress have in the buying and selling of stock. 86% of Americans say that members of Congress should not be able to buy and sell shares of stock, individual stock, while they are members of this body. And they are absolutely correct. And the reason is, you can see it. There was just another ethics referral in the House last week. We've seen the former Speaker of the House make millions of dollars in profits. We've seen members of both parties, I'm sad to say, be investigated for their stock trades. And the reason for all of this is that, quite frankly, members of this body are privy to information that the normal person just is not. Now, is that insider trading? It is not under the laws. Sometimes people say, well, we already have insider trading laws. We don't need a stock ban. Well, the information that members of Congress are privy to is technically not covered by the insider trading laws, but nobody really believes that the information that we get isn't valuable. It is quite valuable, which is why back during COVID, you saw members of Congress of both parties engage in a flurry of stock trading right after they were getting COVID briefings. Were members of the public getting those briefings? They were not. Were members of the public privy to the kind of information that was being given to members of Congress? No, they were not. And so when you look at what members of Congress are privy to, what they are able to trade on, the access that they have, it's just qualitatively different than your average Joe or Jane, which is why we ought to put into place common sense guardrails that say, if you want to be a member of Congress, you can put you want to save, great. You can buy mutual funds, you can buy broadly diversified investment vehicles. You should not be able to buy and trade individual stock shares, in which, frankly, we have an interest in the work that we do. We have information that no other people get, no other members of the public have. This bill would finally redress that.
And there you go. So Josh Hawley, you cannot back down from this. You must stand 10 feet tall in this. Bring that bill. Do everything you can for that bill to hit President Trump's desk. Here's Josh Hawley again. Look, now he is calling. Now he has changed his tune. He's going right after Nancy Pelosi, as he should, because this is in the interest of the American people, that people that have made so much money be investigated and prosecuted. Breaking, Senator Josh Hawley demands Nancy Pelosi be prosecuted for insider trading. Let's take a listen.
I had a good chat with the president earlier this evening, and he reiterated to me he wants to see a ban on stock trading by people like Nancy Pelosi and members of Congress, which is what we passed today. I think it is absolutely vital we put a stop to this. Pelosi shouldn't just be investigated. She should be prosecuted. And we need to make what she is doing and other members of Congress is doing illegal. I mean, you shouldn't be able to go up to Congress and get rich by trading on information that only you have and not members of the public. Right now, lots of members of Congress are getting by with it. We need to make the whole thing illegal.
So when you spoke to the president, did he explain why he called you second tier?
Well, I think that the president, a number of people who are opposed to banning stock trading had said to the president that he would be covered by the bill. He'd have to sell Mar-a-Lago and sell assets. Not the case at all. The president and the vice president, all their assets are totally exempted. And here's the point. This is what we talked about. The point of this bill is to ban members of Congress from trading on the information that only they have. I've supported this bill for years, Jesse. I think we call it the Pelosi Act. It is named for her because she is the poster child of this kind of behavior. It ought to be illegal and it ought to be prosecutable.
It ought to be prosecutable. So now we know that President Trump has called Josh Hawley after he again sided with the Democrat earlier. He's now in favor of all of this. He's now pushing for this to become, again, eventually a bill to sign into law, and it's called the Pelosi Act to ban. And again, these Congress members, both, you know, in the Senate as well, right and left, are to be held accountable and should not be getting away with this. So this is big news, ladies and gentlemen. Big news. What's going to happen next? Well, we shall see.